Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Menhera Monday with your host, Exhibit A, wishing you a very happy Menhera Monday. Thank you all for being here. It's now once again time to start the week. Hello Mr. Weenus, hello Random Things, hello Sakura, hello Bubbly Shay, hello Salad, hello Toy. Did I say everyone? Yeah, I did, right? Yeah, alright. Let's go, guys. It's time to begin. Hello, Bulletproof Bish. Welcome back. You guys ready? Exhibit Gooner. No. Yeah, true. It's like I'm at church. Yeah, the countdowns are kind of like that, aren't they? That's literally the way they are. Alright. So I'm just going to start reading through the things we have here. Let's see. So, I haven't really read through many of these, or any of them really. Except for like the first two. Which I was not impressed by. Or, well, one of them I was not impressed. Yeah, I can see it right here. What's something that makes you want to cry? Cock, written by Zana. If the cock is making you want to cry, I think something is going wrong here. I think maybe this is a situation that shouldn't be happening. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you like that. Maybe you prefer. Maybe you like it whenever it makes you cry. Maybe that's actually what you're into. And that's fine. You can do that. That's something you can do. Hello, hostess Exhibit A. I'm the hostess. Wow. Hi, Exhibit. I'm going to listen to you while napping, so please don't scream in my ears, moi. Okay, no worries, no worries. I don't normally scream. I appreciate you being here even though you're napping, Peachy. I thought you weren't gonna be watching this one, but I'm glad you're here. I will be here in the background helping you sleep. I hope I don't, if I accidentally put music too loud, it's gonna be so bad for you. I'm gonna try to make sure that doesn't happen. Yeah. My first day on the job, sat and I hurt my finger. How many answers did you get? I got 17 of them. But yes, good night, Peachy. I hope you rest well for your nap. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Next one, next one. What's something that makes you want to cry? People who don't like guns. Like, why they're best thing that happened to the world. Also, I don't like people who think of my cute goat as food. If you ever say that my goat is looking tasty, I will cook you. This was written at 4 AM. I am sleep deprived. Written by you know who it is. Yeah, this one's obviously written by Random. Because he only talks about guns all of the time. Yeah, I don't know why. It's like an obsession, I guess. Also, he's got a goat apparently. Don't say that his goat is looking tasty. Don't do that. Yeah. Yeah, he's obsessed with guns. I don't. He never talks about anything else. I don't know what to do. All right. All right. Yeah, because at first I thought it was a bit, but now it's clearly not a bit because he's just way too committed. That wouldn't. Hello, Utopia. Welcome to the stream. Why'd you say hi random in a different font? Hi random. Hi unknown. He's just saying it all in different tones. Okay, time to bring more musica. Okay. And rain sounds. This will hopefully help Peachy sleep. Is that volume enough, guys? Is that good enough volume? If it's too quiet or too loud, do let me know. Okay. What's something that makes you want to cry? Well, since I'm answering this on Father's Day, anything about fathers, anything about losing loved ones, and anything that will give me emotional damage. I'm a very empathetic person, so if I see anything remotely sad, I will cry. Written by Riku. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I guess you've had, I mean, there's a lot of people where, when certain types of year come around that are supposed to be happy, they get sad because they associate it with maybe someone that they lost, or someone, even just a bad thing that happened on that day. You know what happens? It's a common thing. I've met people who have that about different things. Yes, that's you, Bulletproof Bish. That's you. Hello, Daniel. Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here. Yeah. I don't hear any— oh, you don't hear any music. Bro, I'm fucking stupid. Okay. Back to the beginning. Here we go. Does that sound alright? Bruh. Okay. Let me know if that sounds okay. But yes, welcome, Daniel. Hello, Spider Guy. Welcome to the stream. Everybody's here. Hell yes. It's looking good. We've got 11 people in here. Let's keep it going. Yes, I'm a little bit lower energy today. My voice might still have something wrong with it. I'm not sure. Or it might just be my tiredness, because I'm clearly speaking more monotone. So, I don't know. But I think people like that. I think people actually prefer that. They prefer me speaking like this, so I guess it's not a bad thing. Alright. But yeah, no, it's good to be an empathetic person, It's not a weakness to, like, feel, to like, cry when you see sad things. It means that you care. And if more people in the world cared, then the world would be better and people would be helping more. and stopping the bad things from happening. You know, empathy is not a bad thing. People sometimes actually demonize empathy. You know, they say that it's like weak, or that you should be, you know, prioritizing other things over empathy. You should be empathizing with people outside the community. You need to prioritize this community. That's not how it works. I don't think it's ever wrong to have empathy. I don't think it's ever wrong to have that. I think it's always a good thing. Even if you're empathizing with bad people, I think that's okay. You know, there's never a situation where it's wrong to empathize with someone. You just don't want to empathize more with bad people than good people, because then you might end up doing the wrong thing. Persona, you're the best. Put my glasses back on just to say that. No worries, Peachy. I'm glad you think that I'm the best. Exhibit gave the hawk tua, that's why his throat hurt. Don't expose me. Listen, listen. Listen. Okay? Listen. It's not my fault that Peachy has such a great cock, okay? That's not my fault. It's not my fault. I can't help it. I can't. It's just how it is. Alright, blame her. She's the one with the penis. There's nothing wrong with being empathetic, that's what I say. Yes, that's true. Persona 5, yes. As long as you don't have empathy with the landlords, I think we're good. I mean, listen, some landlords are nice, right? Just not most of them. You know. Have you guys seen that one subreddit, like... I think it's called, like, Land Chads or something? The whole point of the subreddit is that they're all pretending to be landlords, and they're all acting, like, super douchey. So, like, they're all being like, "Sup, Land Chads, I just evicted, a struggling family with a single mother with 2 kids, because she didn't pay her bill on time. Feeling good. Hashtag stay winning." You know, it's that kind of thing. You should have empathy, but not too much. I mean, the only disadvantage to having too much empathy is that it might affect you negatively, right? I don't think empathy itself is inherently bad. Are they really pretending, though? I mean, most of them were... I don't... I would hope so. They act like they're not pretending. They, like... They don't want you to mention that they're pretending, but, like... No, it's too over the top. Just raised the rent for a single mother of 2. Gonna go ignore my tenants when they say to fix the fridge. Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of stuff they write there. But these are virtue and everyone needs... It's something everyone needs to make a better society. So he keeps gooning, that's why he is weak. Gooning doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong. Gooning makes you strong. It is what... It is the way. The way. It's the way. Okay, dokie. Next one. Bro, I don't want to read this one. This one's offensive. No. We're not reading that one. What? Something that makes you want to cry. Stress, impotence, the death of my beloved ones, even if it's just a dream. Or animals. And when I dream about the traumas of my past, absolutely nothing else. Written by Sarah. Yeah, that's fair. These are all things that make us cry, you know, that make us sad. You know? It's a thing. Like, I've had dreams where, like, loved ones die. It's usually my dad. Well, not usually. I don't have that often, but, like, it's one of the only people that I've had dreams of, like, the person dying. It's one of the only times I've had that. One of the only people I've had that with. You know, so... And it's weird, because, like, it feels so, like... if, you know, it feels like it's a feeling that you don't, even if you've never had it in real life, you could have it in a dream, and then it's very strong, you know. But then animals make you want to cry, or, oh no, the death of animals. Okay. That's what you meant. Absolutely nothing else you say, though. Nothing makes you cry? Nothing else? Do we got... No, I'm not gonna say that. Anyway. Yeah, if you find an offensive one, can just ignore it. I don't like to know there's something in there you won't read. Right, you get too curious. I can read it. It's just like, I don't know if people will like hold it against me or something. Okay, I'll read out the one that I ignored, right? It says, what's something that makes you want to cry? And it says, The Fact Hitler Died, written by Harry Kane. I don't know who that is. But that's what they wrote, so... I don't know, man. I don't think you should be sad that Hitler died. He was pretty bad, right? The only good thing he ever did was this is a really good thing he did, by the way. He killed Hitler, which is a really good thing to do because he was bad. So, yeah. Anyway. We're moving to the next one. What's something that makes you want to cry? The fact that I get pretty damn lonely sometimes, and I have that urge to cuddle. Thank God for plushies, written by Tess. Yeah, fair enough. I know a few people who love their plushies. I think it's totally fine to still love that stuff in adulthood. There shouldn't be any rules on like what you're allowed to like in any different ages. I think that's ridiculous, right? There's societal ideas of like, once you're past a certain age, you're just not allowed to like certain things. I think that's not true. I don't think there's a single thing that applies to. Not a single thing. You know, and like, I think as you grow up, you need to become more mature. You need to become better at adjusting to society and become more independent and be better in practical ways in terms of how you interact with the world and benefit yourself and make sure you're able to take care of yourself. But in terms of the things you're actually allowed to enjoy, I don't think that ever changes, right? If there's something you like as a kid, you're still allowed to like that as an adult. You know, there's no reason why that should change, you know, logically. You know, what people view as like being childish doesn't really matter. What matters is, are you happy? That's the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter if some people find it weird. Like, why does that matter? It's not really their business, right? They're not really supposed to know about that. What does it matter what you do in the privacy of your own home? It doesn't really matter. They shouldn't know about it to begin with, you know? Or they don't have a right to know about it. Well, yeah, listen, everyone knows now why I didn't read it out. Let me see. If exhibit finds something offensive, then that will be really messed up. Wait, hang on. I feel like I saw it. What do you mean, based exhibit? Are you saying that in response to what I read out? That's not mine. Exhibits find something offensive, that'll be really messed. Yeah. Yeah, anyway. We don't need to dwell on the best thing Hitler did is that he killed Hitler. That should go in the quote channel. Yeah, I mean, if you want, you can always put it there if you'd like. I think for the most part, it's healthy to move on from some things. Like if you're 30 and watch Cocomelon, I don't know what's wrong with you. Okay, listen, I get the argument that you're making, right? And like, Cocomelon is sort of like an extreme example that you can bring up to like try to show the absurdity of my argument. But like, at the end of the day, so it's hard to imagine why an adult would like Cocomelon, right? Like it's hard to really see why. You know, it's hard to really understand that. And so I don't think it's common, right? There's not going to be many adults who do. So that's why it sounds rather absurd. But I still think at the end of the day, even if you're bringing in like really absurd examples, I think that the only thing that really matters is that you're happy. Like, if something that you're enjoying is causing you harm in some way, or it's hindering your mental development in some way, then I think you shouldn't do it, because then that counts as, you know, it counts as harm. You should do what makes you happy as long as there's no harm to other people or yourself. But, you know, if you're doing something that doesn't harm anyone, then there's no reason not to do it, you know? It's like, sure, you know, Cocomelon, like, I know it's a really absurd example, but like, if you're an adult and for some godforsaken reason you genuinely enjoy watching Cocomelon, I mean, you should be allowed to do it. Like, I'm gonna be like a bit weirded out by it. I'm gonna be like, why do you like Cocomelon as an adult? But like, at the end of the day, you still have a right to do it. Like, I can't like genuinely criticize you. Like, people might make fun of you, but that's different from like actually genuinely saying that they're doing something like wrong. You know, there's a difference. And you know, yeah, it's like but then I guess the other argument is maybe Cocomelon's just harmful. So I think that's a good argument. Maybe you shouldn't watch it because it's harmful. You know. Yeah, that's what I mean, here's the thing, right? I'm a radical when it comes to these ideas. Like, when I say that people should do what makes them happy as long as it doesn't harm anyone, I take that to its extreme. Most people don't. Most people who say that they believe that don't. Most people who say, oh, people should do what makes them happy as long as it doesn't harm anyone, they don't mean it. Because those same people will go and they'll attack people for doing things that aren't actually very harmful. And they'll say that, you know, that's wrong, you shouldn't do that, or that's, you better, you know, it's like, I want to take that to its extreme, even if it means saying weird shit like that, you know? What matters is, you know, is it hindering your mental development in some way? You know, if it's making you, if it's actually bad, you know, like, if fucking watching Cocomelon is doing something bad to your brain, I think that's a good argument as to why you shouldn't do it. And also, here's the thing, right? I've never watched Cocomelon. I don't actually know what it's about. Yeah, so I lack the understanding, perhaps, to really comment on it. So maybe there's something I'm missing. Anyway, that's my whole point. But listen, you know, like kids shows that have like actual substance, like for sure, you shouldn't be ashamed of watching those as a kid, or as an adult. Hello, Bakiaro. Hi, Exhibit. Hi, chat, you naughty girls. Yeah, all the girls. They're all girls, definitely. No guys in here. Most certainly no salads. Imagine saying weird shit. Yeah, I would never do that. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to imagine why someone would enjoy Cocomelon as an adult, unless maybe they're like very like mentally disabled, right? Like if someone has like a mental disability, they're like kind of behind mentally, even though they're like an adult in terms of their actual age. That's one reason why someone might watch Cocomelon as an adult. I don't think that's wrong of them to do that. I think they can do that if they want. Actually be like, I don't think we should cancel children for watching media intended for them. Yeah, I mean... yeah, I don't know. My brother is listening Baby Shark all the freaking time. Still? Really? I thought that, like, faded into irrelevancy. You know, I do think that, for children, you should try to provide them with something more, like, nourishing, though. Like, maybe just, you know, give them something with, like, a plot and a story, something that'll enrich them, something that'll get their creativity going. I think that would probably be better, at least once they are, like, are older than, like, 4 years old or 5 or something. You know, that way it'll actually contribute to their development. That's probably better. But also, it's not necessarily wrong for, like, young kids to have things that are, like, kind of brain rot adjacent. Or, like, because, like, what is it real? Like, at the end of the day, if you, like, shake a little maraca, like, in front of a kid, right? Or you, like, have a toy in your hand and you, like, play with it in front of a kid. At the end of the day, what is that? What is that? That's Cocomelon. You're just dangling, like, a freaking thing, like some toy in front of the kid, right? And you're, like, just giving the kid something to look at. That's not, like, nourishing for their brain. That's just mindless fun for them. So, like, what's the difference between that and, like, Cocomelon? Like, yeah, Cocomelon may be cringe, but, like, is it really different from, like, okay, well, it is a bit different, right? Because you should have there's the social aspect of, like, them developing a bond with you if you play with them personally, right? But that's why, you know, you don't want to rely too much on that, on just, like, videos and stuff. But that's fine in moderation. Just make sure you as they grow older, give them more nourishing things to watch. Give them, like, something with a story and a plot, so that it'll get their creativity rolling. Yeah, sorry, Exhibit. I'm gonna go explain the FNAF lore to my 3-month-old nephew. You go for it. Use things like Dora that teaches you languages or something educational. The only thing he learns from dinosaurs is destroying stuff and roar all the time. My niece was legit getting more aggressive with her parents when they stopped playing Cocomelon for her. And when we switched her to Bluey, she was chill with it. Yeah, that's probably a good way to go. Get them on something more nourishing. So at the end of the day, they want entertainment, right? They want something to look at and enjoy. And it makes sense to get mad when you don't have something, right? You know, they just don't want to be bored. They want to be stimulated. They want stuff going on. Okay. What's something that makes you want to cry? Onions, written by Tess. Yeah. I guess. That's technically true. Next one. What's something that makes you want to cry? Feeling helpless. I feel a bit too strongly at times, but when someone needs me, I want to be there for them. But when you're online with friends across the world, that is difficult. So when I hear someone needing comfort or dealing with someone, I feel pathetic because I can't do anything other than offer words of kindness and support. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it's a bit hard. It sometimes is hard for me to always play therapist. Even though I don't mind it, I just feel exhausted sometimes. I kind of blame myself since I don't express it, but I have a hard time without making it sound like I'm making it about me. It's a battle. But I think what makes me cry is just not being there for everyone. I love deeply and I'm a bit sensitive. I sometimes don't know how to handle it. I'm trying to. Just still learning how to handle my emotions. Written by Shay. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who feel, like, very strongly, and, like, feel like they feel too strongly because it, like, hurts them and affects them actively. I know a few people like that. And, you know, a lot of people also play, like, the group therapist because they're able to. They have the skills to. They care enough to do it, and they're very, you know, they're there to be a comforter. But at the end of the day, you need to look out for yourself as well, because, you know, it won't be a good thing if you're helping other people so much that you end up feeling terrible all of the time, because then you're probably not going to be a good therapist if you're feeling terrible. Comes right back around to bite everyone else in the ass if you're being pushed too hard, because then you won't be able to, you know, put that energy into giving people the right amount of attention and being able to get along with people. So, yeah, makes sense. But yeah, it's sort of honorable that what makes you cry is not being able to be there for everyone. It sort of shows that you're, you know, a good person. I think that's good. I used to really envy people like that, because I'm not like that. I don't really, I'm not, like, super strongly empathetic. I don't really cry much for other people. But But I used to envy that. I used to be like, you know, I want to be that kind of person. I want to care more. Now I don't really care too much about becoming that kind of person, because, like, I am what I am. I can't change it. And also, there's advantages to not caring as much, because, like, it hurts to be someone who cares. Every time someone else hurts, it means you hurt. It's like, I feel like I'd rather just... Yeah, it's like I don't... There's advantages to not being like that. You know, I'd rather not be in absolute pain all of the time. But also, I do want to care for at least those who are the most close to me, you know? I do want to care for them, at least, to a strong degree. But then that circle of people would need to be on the smaller side, you know? So that I'm not spreading myself too thin. So I wouldn't mind being, like, really strongly empathetic towards just the people that are really close to me, because then I can handle that, you know, even if they all have troubles. Well, that's manageable, because there's just a few of them. Whereas if it's like a big, large friend group, and I'm very deeply, deeply empathetic for all of them, like with a bleeding heart, it's going to be tough, because that's a lot of people. That's a lot of troubles. So, yeah. So at the end of the day, you know, you don't need to beat yourself up over it, you know? You're not obligated to be there for everyone. You're not doing something wrong by not being able to be there. Because, you know, you are trying. And, to be honest, you're not obligated to make it your full-time job to help people anyway. You know, it's good that you care and it's good that you help, but you're not obligated to make that your job. You know, you should just do your best, and that's enough. And then past that, you don't need to beat yourself up over it. I love the vids of parents destroying their kids' gaming consoles. I freaking talked about that on stream once, and how I don't like those videos. I think they're terrible. Yeah, I have a clip of it on my channel, or like I got the clip of me talking about it. It's on my channel. It's called Why Parents Shouldn't Enjoy Punishing Their Children. So you like those videos. I don't. I talked about how they're bad. So if you watch that video, maybe you'll change your mind. Cocomelon's different though. It's been proven that's too fast for what kids should be watching. Too much stimulation. Okay, maybe that's true. I actually don't... You know, I've done all this talking about Cocomelon, but, like, I've never watched it, so I don't actually know. But yeah, all the kids are not okay. You know, when they get to a point where they, like, rage whenever you take away their stuff, it's not great. I was kind of one of those kids, to be honest. But then I also had a genuinely troubled life, so... I don't know. I feel so bad because many times I have to fake tears. I just don't feel like crying most of the time. I'm the same. And sometimes I feel kind of bad or, like, guilty because, like, I sometimes pretend to care about things that I don't care about because it's like, I want to offer them comfort, I want them to feel comforted, but, like, I don't actually understand what it's like to go through what they're going through. I can't actually empathize with it. I just know that they are hurting. I don't understand the feeling, though. So I pretend to empathize even though I can't. And that's the best that I can do sometimes. Because, like, what am I going to do? Just tell them I don't care? I can't say that. Because, like, I do want them to feel better. Next, you need some empathy pills, man. I'd take them. If you enjoy punishing your children, something is very wrong, and it also gives you an incentive to come up with something to punish your kids for. Exactly. It spirals into abusive situations. You know, how we shouldn't have for-profit prisons. Daniel, you aren't Asian, right? I mean, you are Asian, right, Random? I think you mentioned at one point that you are. Or that you lived in an Asian country, or something like that. But basically, Asian parents love to punish their children as part of Asia culture, to be honest. Yeah, I don't agree with it at all. It's terrible. I'm in a Asian family. Same exhibit, same. Like, I love that people and want the best for them, but my capacity to feel is kind of messed up. Yeah, I'm like that. Alright, next one. Next answer. What's something that makes you want to cry? Loved ones dying, family and friends. I only cry alone, can't cry in front of people. Written by Pop-Tart Snake. Yeah, I mean, loved ones dying. I think there's very few people who wouldn't cry over a loved one dying. And if you don't, that's probably not a good thing, because then you're probably repressing it. But then you say, I only cry alone, can't cry in front of people. I'm very similar. I'm very much the same. I don't like to cry in front of people. I don't allow myself to. Because I feel too embarrassed. I don't want people to see me that way. But I don't know if that's necessarily healthy. I know some people would say, you know, you should be able to cry more in front of people. It's like a good thing or something. Probably is, but I just feel too embarrassed. I don't like to be seen that way, you know. But like I do cry in front of some people, just like that number of people is really small though. It's not a common thing for me to do. Yeah. Everyone got such serious answers, bruh. Mine's gonna stand out. Nah, it's alright. We need a couple of those in there. I mean, a certain someone answered cock, saying that cock makes them cry, so I'm pretty sure that one's not serious. Hope it's not serious, because otherwise, that's not a good situation. Haha, Exy has feelings like a woman. Haha. Yeah. I mean, I mean, a lot of people do think that way, though. They're like, no, if you cry, that's for women. You don't cry if you're a man. You're just for women. You don't cry if you're a man. You don't cry. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's like, oh, that's silly. Crying is for everybody. It's a free gift. That might be the reason why I don't cry. After almost sending me to the hospital, my mom would be like, keep crying and you'll have it worse. Yeah, when I was in school in Thailand, when I was a little kid, they would smack us with rulers if we did bad stuff. And if you cried, they would do it more. So, and I always hated that, just on principle, because I think crying is the normal thing to do in that situation. Spiders are kind of based. Yeah, I mean, your name is Spider Guy. You must like spiders a lot. Yeah, same exhibit. I don't really like people seeing me as a sobbing wreck. Yeah. Yeah, like I wouldn't want to, you know. Keep crying, I'm gonna give you a reason to cry. I hate that so much. It's like when someone is genuinely crying, like you've already gone too far. Like, come on. I hate that so much. Parents who do that, like, I have no respect for them. There's so many horrible parents in the world. It's so normalized, too. Like, we joke about it so casually, like it's just some universal experience sometimes, and it's like, no, that's so bad. And I hate that so many people try to justify that and just say it's a part of life, and like, oh, it's just how my mama raised me, and it's how I'm gonna raise my kids, because that's just how it works. Kids need to know discipline. It's like, shut the fuck up, man. I'll discipline you in a second. I'm gonna spank you on your ass, and then I'm gonna make you cry. And then if you cry, I'm gonna spank you more, because I'll gonna give you something to cry about, okay? You know? Because that I find crying a little cringe. Yeah, Random, you shouldn't really be getting, letting that affect your view on that, because, like, you... there are a lot of people who say that, like, crying isn't masculine or whatever, and that's just a dumb idea, because, like, that's stupid. Like, it's, you you know, if you need to cry, then you need to cry. That's a normal human emotion. It's perfectly natural. It's what nature intended. So what people are doing when they say that crying is not masculine, or like crying isn't for men, you're literally just, you're arguing against like your actual biological impulses that are supposed to be working that way. You're telling people to intentionally do things in a way that is unhealthy, instead of doing things in the healthy way. It's like, instead of, society is normalizing the unhealthy method instead of the healthy method, and that's just silly. So we're slowly starting to teach people better and change that. But, you know, we've got some catching up to do, because a lot of people still believe in that stuff. That you shouldn't cry if you're a man and so on. And they were actually the reason why you cried, like she just broke a freaking wooden stick on my back and she wouldn't spend me to cry. It's like, yeah, it should be only logical that you cry in that situation. I fucking hate that. Like, you do that to someone and you just expect them not to cry? That's just insane. Oh man, my throat's getting sore. Because my throat hadn't recovered fully. Okay. For the most part, the only thing that's cringe is finding things cringe. Yeah, for the most part. You know, don't kill the part of you that's cringe, kill the part of you that cringes. My cousin said to me that when his grandmother died in his funeral, he was trying hard not to cry because his dad said to him that men shouldn't cry. Yeah, that's ridiculous. If someone dies, that's like one of the situations where it's definitely okay to cry, because like, you kind of need to process that, right? It's part of processing it. It's part of what's healthy in that situation. I don't like to cry in front of other people, but like, I'll still cry on my own if I need to. Or I'll cry in front of like a really trusted friend. But yeah. Making men feel that they shouldn't cry ever just encourages unhealthy behavior such as bottling up emotions. Exactly, yeah, it's like you bottling it up. Hello, Riley. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. From the Moxie collab, right? Whom? What's you referring to? Alright. Okay. Next one. What's something that makes you want to cry? The fact that car trunks have a tab on the inside so that people who have been kidnapped have an option for escape. We live in a world where that's necessary. Written by Moxie. Okay, for a second there, I thought you were complaining that the car trunks have that on the inside because it, like, stops you from being able to kidnap people. I thought that's what you were saying. I thought you were like, it makes me cry that they can escape when they're being kidnapped. I thought that's what you were saying, but no, you're saying that makes you cry because we live in a world where that's necessary. So that makes sense. But I thought you were complaining about your victims getting away too easily. Well, that would make me cry too, to be fair. I would not want my victims getting out. That would make me cry. You know? Because I'd miss them, right? Like, I kidnap people that I like. You know? And so, like, if they don't want to be friends with me, like, that's hurtful. Because, like, I want to be friends with them. So, like, why should they do that, you know? Like, it's just not fair, to be honest. But yeah, like, it makes sense. Yeah, no, I get what you're coming from, Moxie. Because you have a, you know, we live in a world where that's necessary. It's indicative of a lot of things, you know? There's a lot of horrible things that go on in the world. And, you know, we implement measures like cars with trunks where you can open on the inside. We implement all sorts of things. We put up signs, posters, warning people not to do certain things. Or, you know, we warn people not to, you know, we do all these things, all these steps. We tell people not to, like, freaking do things to other people without their consent. We do all, but it's like, at the end of the day, even though we're doing all that, it still happens to, like, such a large degree. And it's so hard to even put a dent on it with all that we're doing. So, yeah, it does suck that we're living in a world like that, you know, where, you know, no matter what we do, it's like we can't seem to fix it, you know, we can't seem to help it. We can reduce it, we can reduce the amount that it happens, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's so hard to think of, you know, how do we stop these things from happening? And that's a tough problem to solve. By Peachy. Yeah, I think that's something Peachy wouldn't want her victims getting away. Lamau Saming. Your sore throat? Why is my sore throat a Lenny face moment? What do you mean? What are you implying? Is it just that my voice sounds nice when it's deep, or are you implying that something's been in there? Hello, has my answers said yet? I'm very sleepy. So I read the one where you wrote cock. And then, did you write another one right after that? I'm not sure. But if you have ones later on, then I haven't seen that yet. Okay. Next one. What's something that makes you want to cry? Nier as a whole. Y'all would not understand the amount of tears that have been shed throughout my dive into the story of Nier. Even besides the two main games, which already got me fucked up, there's all the novellas and short stories that get you so invested into the lore, but also make you want to shoot yourself because of how tragic the lives of all these characters are. I'm relatively new to it all, so I still have lots of material to get through, like the Yorha Boys novel, Nier Reincarnation, and the entire Drakengard trilogy, just to name a few. So I'm certain the shed tears are far from over, written by Spider Guy. Yeah, fair enough. Like, Nier is really cool. It's such a cool game, but I played it before and I didn't get that far in. I only got to, like, the first ending. And then I played a little bit into, like, the second little playthrough where you play as, where you play as 9S. And so that was cool. But that was a while back now, so I do think I want to return to it soon. Because I would like to experience, especially since now Peachy's playing it, I want to see what it's all about. And experience the whole story. Because it's really cool from what I have played. The gameplay is lovely, great combat, and the story seems very nice from what I did play as well, you know. And 2B is also really hot. That's also a really big bonus. That's a big incentive for me to play games when the girls are hot. And you know, I would love to be 9S. I want to be 9S, and I want 2B to like rest my head on her thighs, and I want to be coddled by 2B because she is mommy, and I would let her do whatever she wants to me pretty much. So yeah, that's my opinion on Nier. Yeah. The anime had me sobbing, like, actually. Oh yeah, the anime is out now. We, mainly me, know how fucked up you can get. Yeah, you've seen Spider Guy break down into sobbing and shit. We all know you use the community Peachy Fuda doll. Gosh, listen. Shh. You can't blame me, okay? Can't blame me. It's just a nice doll. Doesn't compare to the real thing, though. Yeah, kidnapping should be made easier because I want to be kidnapped real. That's like most of my like fans on the ASMR channel, because I put my like yandere kidnapping videos up there a while back, or like a long time ago. Based, so yeah, true. Salad has witnessed my genuine meltdowns on Nier. I mean, at least you don't want her to crush your head. I mean, she can crush it a little bit. I just don't want to die from it, you know? What if I do, it's like... I guess there are worse ways to die, right? I don't like stories where the characters are good because I get attached to them, and when they die I get depressed. COD has this trait. Yeah. Interesting take on that. I mean, characters don't die in, like, every story where characters are good. There's a lot of, like, more whimsical stories where everyone is, like, they just all win in the end and no one dies. But yeah, like, dark stories, for sure. With, like, dark stories with, like, characters who are good people. You know, it goes terribly for them. Usually. And you just end up feeling, sad. But maybe you meant good characters as in just, like, well-written characters. But then, if you're implying that, if you're saying that, you're saying you like stories where the characters are badly written, which I don't think that's what you're saying. When you understand what 2B goes through, you just want to give her a hug more than anything sexual, bro. Like, fuck, give this poor girl a break. Oh my god. Real, yeah, it's like... yeah. I might have missed some messages. I might have missed some messages due to, like, the filtering, which I can't turn off. But I've switched the chat now. So it'll show me that even if it gets filtered. 90% of stories should have one good character die, or else there won't ever be any tension in any story. Yeah, it's like... character death is a useful tool, because you want the story to be tense, you want people to believe that bad things can happen in the story, so that you can be on edge as to, like, whether they'll succeed or not. And then... yeah, it's also just a good tool for, like, the other characters to, like, grow from that and, you know, improve. Not gonna spoil anything, though. You'll have to play the game in full to understand. No worries, that is what I will do. Or people will watch, Peachy's playthrough, at least. Because a lot of people here are Peachy enjoyers. They love peaches. Peaches, 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 peaches. Yummy peaches. I want to eat her peaches. Never played Nier Automata. I think that's what it's called. No. Nier Automata? That's not it. If it has guns, then one day I will play it. It does have, wait. Yeah, it has the, yeah, so the members of the Resistance carry guns, and then your drone has a gun on it, right? So you mostly do, like, 2B and 9S mostly fight with their, like, swords. But then their drones have a gun on them, and then you're always using those as well alongside your sword fighting to, like, shoot at them. Shoot at the enemies. So you might like that, perhaps. I love peachy and cream. Me too. Me too. I like to add my own cream. You know. All over her. Okay, anyways. Yeah, I'm watching Peachy's playthrough. I'm an addict. I'm very peachy pilled. Very based, very based. It's good to be peachy pilled. Very good indeed. Alright. Okay, next one. What's something that makes you want to cry? My dreams. They're never the normal kind of dreams, and lately I've been told that there could be a couple of reasons for that. Reason one is that I'm a psychic who receives messages from the other world, and then those messages get translated into my dreams because someone or something wants to communicate their messages but chose me because I can receive those messages. Reason two is that my mental health is so messed up and so traumatized that it amalgamated into something dangerous. So now every time before I go to bed intoxicated just because when I do, I don't dream. I don't wake up to cuts and bruises like I do if I go to bed sober. But this is where the psychic reason comes to play. I dream of people who get hurt very badly from their perspective, or in like a god perspective. Like I'm watching alongside their demise and nothing I do or say changes the end. And then I wake up with cuts and bruises, sometimes bite marks, in the same places where I get hurt in the dream. So either the ghost in my house was like, yeah, come use my psychic, she won't mind getting a few thousand more messages. Or I need to go find someone to be my dream therapist? I'm just tired of trying to fix my dreams every time I'm home alone, and lucid dreaming doesn't work on me. I've tried that already. Any advice would be great. Yeah, no, I've heard of people who have, like, big issues with nightmares, right? And, like, even reoccurring nightmares where, like, the same things happen. Stuff like that, and it's like, yeah, it's interesting that can happen. Like, it's fascinating that our brains work that way, but it's also horrible, because if you have that happening to you, it's like, it can be really terrifying and horrible, and there's no way, you don't know how to get out of it. And it's hard to figure out how to solve that, especially because the things that happen in those dreams can sometimes be way more horrifying than things that happen in real life, because, you know, in a dream there's no limits. In a dream you could experience like a literal horror movie situation, you know? And, you know, that's the crazy part. So, yeah. Wish I could help you. I'm not a dream therapist. But, yeah, maybe find like a therapist. Find like a dream therapist, I would say. I don't know. Find like, if that's a thing. I don't know if that's a thing. Is a dream therapist a thing? Yeah, go find like help from someone, right? Like maybe someone in chat knows like what I could recommend. But like, do try to seek out help for it. Because there are ways to at least help with it. Even if it doesn't necessarily go away. Or maybe it will go away, maybe there's treatment for it. But you know, there's a lot of issues that people have, then they never seek out treatment for it, and if they did, they would be able to alleviate it. So I'd recommend you try to do something about it, because then you might be able to help and get rid of that, instead of just, bearing with it. Because clearly something's wrong, and that might be something fixable, or something at least possible to alleviate. You might be able to get medication that will stop it from happening, There's medication like that out there. And you shouldn't rely on alcohol for it, right? That's not good at all. Relying on alcohol is a way to get to sleep because it's very unhealthy. So that's definitely not good. But you might be able to get, like, prescribed medication for it. If you see your doctor about it. So maybe see your doctor about it if you don't know who else to see, Don't sleep on Replicant. Everyone always skips it, even though it's literally the first game in the franchise. I'll play Replicant after Automata. You take the blue pill and wake up the next morning and everything is as always. But take the peachy pill and you'll have the biggest food of cock you've ever seen. So real. I loved that movie. I loved when Morpheus said that. That was great. Focusing and stressing about nightmares can make them worse and more common. Unfortunately, saying stop stressing isn't as easy as it sounds. If you can, you definitely should play Replicant first, because Automata actually kind of spoils a lot of the later plot twists in Replicant. Oh, really? Alright. Okay. Alrighty. Next one. What's something that makes you want to cry? Driving. Recently I've been taking lessons, but the moment I step into the driver's seat, I end up making myself physically ill every time I'm the driver. Not just like I'm very tense or my heartbeat is pounding, but the fact that I get the urge to puke as soon as I step out of the car. And the thing is, I've been doing this consistently every time I'm in the driver's seat. Now, instead of using the very small car from my grandmother, I'm forced to use the extremely large truck from my parents to practice driving. I know people say that driving is a perk and the key to freedom, but all I want to do is be a turtle and stay in the shell rather than coming out. But I know I'm a good driver, so I keep pushing myself to be a good driver, but the puking is what I feel like is holding me back. When does it end? I've heard driving jitters before, but I don't know how to stop making myself puke. I feel like I Pavloved myself into puking every time I drive. Written by Belle the Book Beast. Interesting. Yeah, so I don't have a license yet, because it's not as important where I live compared to a place like America. But, yeah, like, it is... I don't know how scary it would be to do. But, like, I can get where you're coming from, because, like, it is a dangerous activity, isn't it? It's like, we all sort of... People seem to do it with such ease, People just do it, they learn it, they do it, and then it all just... They do it. But, like, the reality of it is that it's quite dangerous. It's like, if you do even the slightest thing wrong, you could die. You could kill someone. And so it's a... In a way, it's a logical fear. It's like a... But then, it's like... You also won't do much... It's not a good thing to be that fearful of it. Because even if... Especially if you're, like, a good driver. But, I probably can't advise you much on that. Wish I could. But no, that's interesting, because I've never really heard of someone being that afraid of driving before. But, like, it makes sense, because driving is dangerous. And people are... a lot more afraid of... People are really afraid of being on airplanes because they think it's going to crash, right? But the chances of an airplane crashing are actually really low. They're lower than the chances of being in a car accident. And that's the thing most people don't think about, even though a lot of people know it. It's because our brain sort of plays tricks on us. You know, logically, I get where you're coming from, because driving is dangerous. But, you know, that doesn't mean that it's a good thing to worry to this degree. But obviously, it comes from somewhere, you know? Yeah. It's much scarier now than it was 15 years ago when everyone wasn't constantly on their phone. Yeah, that's a good point. Understandable. I mean, driving's scary. Your driver's anxiety is very common? Really? I haven't actually heard of it that much, but I also haven't talked to people about driving very much. It's scary to drive where I live, in Latam in general, but I have to drive anyway. Okay, next one. What's something that makes you want to cry? Onions, written by Utopia. Someone already wrote that. Someone already wrote that. You were too late. You were too late. Nice try, though. Alright, next one. What's something that makes you want to cry? Seeing other human beings with genuinely no compassion or empathy for people. But why? Written by Riley. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, there is a lot of people like that out there who are just very willing to hurt other people for their own, like, happiness and, you know, for their own pleasure. There's a lot of people like that. But, you know, the thing is with those people is that a lot of them genuinely don't realize that they're bad people. They think that they're great, you know? And so, it's hard to change people who are bad. But what you can do is, you know, you can look inward. You can look at yourself. You can be like, you know, is there any situation where I lack empathy for people? Is there any situation where I treat people without compassion, without realizing it? Maybe I've justified it in my head. Or maybe I'm okay with it because it's very normalized. Or maybe it's something that all of society collectively does, so I feel less bad about it. And I end up thinking that it's okay because everyone else is doing it. There's a lot of things like that, you know? There's lots of... You know, like, the best thing you can do is look inward when it comes to these things. Because you can't really change people who are bad and aren't willing to reflect. But if you, as someone who is willing to reflect, wants to look inward, then you can. And, you know, even good people who are mostly empathetic can lack empathy in one particular category. Maybe there's one particular group of people that you lack empathy for. Maybe there's a certain kind of person that you kind of have a dislike for. Maybe without justification. But maybe you don't realize that. You know, that's always like a thing that can happen, you know. But now obviously this isn't directed at you, because I'm sure you're a great person, Riley. I haven't seen you do anything bad, but I just think this is like a useful... This is something I'm just adding on because it feels related, you know. This is something that helps for everyone to think about. It's like, at the end of the day, yeah, there's a lot of people out there who are bad and we can criticize. And when we look at our own history, there's a lot of people we can look at and criticize. But, you know, there's probably things that we ourselves engage in that are harmful and dangerous and unempathetic and like, you know, mean and unfair and unjust. But we just don't realize it. Because a lot of things are normalized, right? It's very easy to, like, dogpile and witch hunt and, you know, just all band together to, like, attack someone who's, like, bad in, like, a socially unacceptable way. Because then all of society agrees that they're bad. Because all of society views that thing as being bad. Right? And maybe it's a good thing that, depending on what they did, maybe it's a good thing that they're getting, you know, punished for it or shamed for it. But there's also another angle to it, right? Because there's also things that are bad that aren't socially scrutinized. There are things that are bad that aren't viewed as bad. There are things that are bad, things that are unjust, ways of treating people that are normal, that everyone is okay with. Because they see everyone else doing it, so it must be fine. Or, you know, they believe that those people deserve to be treated that way, even though they don't, you know? So I think the thing to keep in mind is that, at the end of the day, people don't deserve to be mistreated for things that are outside of their control and that aren't their choice, right? No one ever deserves to be mistreated for something that's not their choice, or something that they're born with, or something that they didn't choose to have. That's never the right thing to do. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. And also that, and then the other thing is, don't mistreat people for doing things that aren't harmful, you know? So, on one hand, don't treat people badly for things that they can't control and that aren't their choice and that they're, like, born with, or just sort of, you know, like, not their fault. And also don't mistreat people for things that they choose to do but that aren't harmful, that aren't harming anyone. So if something is making someone happy and it's not harming anyone, don't get involved. It's not your business. You know, the only justification for stopping someone from doing something that makes them happy is if they're harming someone. If you're going to take away someone's happiness, you need to have a damn good reason, you know? But that's not really how we act in the slightest. Missed a lot of messages. Let's see. Are you guys talking about driving? Driving games. Would you suck the coconut man's dick? What are you talking about? What are you guys quoting right now? I don't understand. Have I not read carefully enough to understand the context of that? Alright, anyway. Okay. What's something that makes you want to cry? So many things, but for the sake of keeping this more lighthearted, I'll say something weird that makes me cry. Which is things to do with people and food. For example, if I see someone eating alone at a buffet, it makes me really sad, even if they're perfectly content. Or if I were to see someone drop their ice cream, I'd cry. Even with animals. Like my friend showed me a video of a raccoon who had cotton candy when was trying to wash it in the creek. Raccoons will do this with food. And it kept melting to nothing, and the raccoon looked so confused and flustered. I guess it was supposed to be funny, but it made me cry, and I'm tearing up just thinking of these examples. He just wanted a treat. Maybe it comes from the way that my mom would always express affection and parenting via food, like cooking or more often sweet treats. Anyway, please like the video to cheer me up, written by Toybox the Sensitive. Interesting. You know what, I kind of understand that, right? Like, anytime I see, like, someone dropping their ice cream in, like, a movie or something, like sometimes that'll happen as, like, a comedy bit in, like, a movie or whatever, and then everyone laughs. Anytime I see that, I'm like, bro, I would hate to be in that position. No, that ice cream. It's fun. I actually get what you mean, right? Like, I kind of understand where you're coming from. Like, I think I kind of get that, you know? I get that, too. I mean, obviously to a much smaller degree than you, but, like, I kind of get where you're coming from, and I experienced that to, like, a small degree. You know, it kind of takes me back to, like, a certain memory I have in my childhood, which, this might, maybe I shouldn't be bringing this up, this might make you cry considering what you just told me, but, there's this, like, my favorite, so there's the Dunkin' Donuts, right? So whenever I was like a tiny little kid, like maybe 6 years old or so, I really liked these particular donuts at Dunkin' Donuts that had like the jam in them. or I guess Americans would say jelly, you know, like, and like I just really liked them. They were my favorite, and every time we went to Dunkin' Donuts, I was always really happy, like or like I was excited to eat those. Those are my favorites. Um, and usually I'd go there with like my dad, and then that's where I'd get it. But the one day we went there with my mom, and then we sort of we did things as normal. We bought the donuts, whatever, and we took them home. But whenever we got home, like I reached for like the ones that I normally like, and then my mom said, "No, don't take those ones. Those are for someone else in the family, or someone else she had in mind, or something like. I'm giving those to him." And I was like, "No, but I like those. Those are my, Then she was like, "No, give them to him," and like and so I had to like very reluctantly and very sadly like pick up those donuts, and then I started to carry them over to like the other, like this is like my cousin, I think, and then like I was really sad because, again, as I said, like those were my favorites. That's why I was happy to go to Dunkin' Donuts. That's why I was like really that's why I liked it. That's the whole reason why I wanted to go there. But here she was telling me to just give them to someone else, because she clearly didn't know that I liked them that much, or that was the reason why I liked going to Dunkin' Donuts. Now, thankfully, as I was leaving, I started to cry, and then she kind of realized. She was like, "Oh, okay, fine, whatever." And then so she reluctantly was like, "Okay, fine, give him this one," and it was the one that she'd already freaking bit into. So, I handed him that one, and I got to eat the ones that I like. So, I don't think anyone's gonna resonate with that story except Toy, though, probably. But it's weird because, like, that's such a mundane thing, and to most people that would seem like such a silly memory. But, like, I get sad when I think about that, Like, I feel sad about the fact that that happened. Like, I felt kind of betrayed, I remember how I felt back then. It was like, my mom doesn't care that I like this a lot, and it means a lot to me, and she's just telling me to give it to someone else, even though I was so excited about it. Even though that's what I always get when I go there. And like it was just like a sad memory, because I was like, it may sound weird that I care even today, but I kind of do, I was like, it was sad. So, that kind of matches up with what you're saying, Toy. It's kind of similar to like what you're talking about there. It's like that's a situation that's very adjacent to what you're describing, I think. Poor tiny exhibit, I would have given you jam donuts. Your cousin's an op with that SMH. See, I don't think the cousin knew, right? And I don't think my mom knew. I think I just went there, like, doing what I normally do with my dad. It's like, I get those. I'm always like, yeah, I get those ones, But then my mom didn't know, and she was like, oh no, he's gonna have those, because they're trying to make sure everyone got something or something. But I don't know if anyone was actually doing anything bad intentionally. I don't know. I don't remember well enough to be able to tell you. Yeah, my freaking... But maybe should they have known? I don't know. I don't really remember. But yeah. Well, if it's any consolation, exhibit, we care here and now. Yeah. It's not just about the food, it's about the meaning behind the person's action. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, that, my mom is a very difficult and toxic person, and, that was, if anything, that's a situation where that's less reflected. There's more bad situations than that I could bring up to demonstrate that, But, that's like, that was my childhood, that's not really being understood, not really being taken seriously. And obviously that's like a small thing compared to some of the other things that happened in my childhood, but like, for some reason it sticks out. For some reason I still remember it, even though I don't remember things from that time too well. It's weird that I remember that so well. Oh, I meant that thing about the coconut man as an example of something that's socially acceptable but shouldn't be, i.e. exploitation. Oh yeah, like the story of like, or like the example of like how a coconut, or yeah, like the guy who monopolized all the coconuts and saying, if you want some of the coconuts, you need to suck my dick. Like I've heard that. Have I talked about that before? I might have, but I don't know if I have the energy to recite that whole story. It's supposed to be like a metaphor for capitalism or something. It's like, oh, sure, they're giving you stuff in return. It's your choice whether you do what they say or not. It's your choice whether to work for them or not. But at the end of the day, they're the ones who have the coconuts, and you need that to survive. So is it right for them to force you to suck their dick in order to get the coconuts? Like how in capitalism, you need to work and give up your body and stuff in order to get money to eat. It's like supposed to be an analogy there. Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned the coconut man. Okay, well I just explained the story again, so. My mom got me a bunny cake when I was tiny, but we couldn't eat it because she went to cut it and I freaked out. No, don't hurt the bunny. Yeah. Because I also had an attachment to like inanimate objects when I was younger. Apparently that's a common thing in autism, apparently. You know. Like I would personify objects and like think of them as like friends or something. In a way. Alright, next one. What's something that makes you want to cry? Music, genuinely. If there's a song that's really moving, I will cry while I'm driving. It doesn't even matter the genre. I cried to Hamilton, I cried to Sleep Token, I cried to the Undertale soundtrack just because it was so beautiful, written by Salad. I mean, I get that with the Undertale soundtrack. It is a really beautiful soundtrack, and like, you know, if you've played the game and you resonated with the game, you know, it's a good story of like, you know, it's an inspiring story of friendship and of overcoming insurmountable odds and believing in yourself and sticking with your friends and, you know, the power of love and forgiveness and trying to fight hate with love. You know, it's a very moving story, and those musics kind of bring you back to that, where it's like, you know, it's like yeah, it's like, you know, it's like it's very fantasy. It's good. It's a good soundtrack. It's very beautiful. So I get that. But I'm not familiar with Sleep Token. I know what Hamilton is. I've heard some of the stuff from that. But Sleep Token, not so much. Spider Guy's been there when I'm on the verge of tears because of music. Music is like a drug, yeah. Okay, so... let's see. Where's... Alright, next one. What's something that makes you want to cry? When my long-distance boyfriend is having troubles and I can hardly do anything to help him, and it makes me feel hurt inside and I just want to cry. Written by Zana. Yeah, understandable. Yeah, I mean, a lot of empathetic ones here, like... Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you have someone you really care about, and they're having troubles and you don't know how to help them, you know, that can feel very helpless. So that can hurt a lot. So that makes sense. Yeah. Yep, it's Zana. Yeah, Zana's the one with, it's a boyfriend in Canada, right? Your long-distance relationship with someone in Canada. This chat low-key empathetic AF. Yes, help balance me out, I'm an asshole. Alright, well, These absolutely make me cry too, though usually more because it's relatable. I mean, like lyrics being relatable. Can't function without music. Yeah, like music's a big part of life. A lot of people are, you know, it's like the story of our lives needs some background music. Anyway. Let's see, next one. Nearing the end here, guys. What's something that makes you want to cry? Life, it's a mess. Things just stay at the same level of not so good in increasingly interesting ways. I'm just glad I got a good community here. Written by Unknown. You know what? Real. Like, I feel kind of similarly, to be honest. Like, things have been so difficult for me recently. They've been so tough. I want to be real, guys. My job has been really fucking... really difficult for me. Because it's not, like, a pleasant job. It's like an entry-level job, and those ones are always kind of... They don't treat you very well. They don't really care much about you. They, like... You know, they sort of... They demand a lot of you. They kind of just throw you into the deep end and expect you to, like, figure things out. It's been so difficult. It's like you spend a whole day doing something that you really hate doing, and then when you feel like you've done too much and you're just ready for it to be over, you've still got several more hours to go. You've still got, like, half the day more to go. It, like, feels like it never ends. And then, even after the day is done, you're like, oh, I gotta go back the next day. Right? And it's like, it's terrible. You know, I'm gonna be real here, guys, you know? Like, we joke a little bit about, like, oh, we censor the word job. We, like, talk about, oh, getting employed, no. And we're doing that in, like, a slightly ironic way. But, like, unironically, I think the fact that the world is so centered around, like, working jobs that you hate, and, like, just this meaningless, like, endeavor of, like, just going and working, and that's just your whole life. I think the fact that the world works that way, I think that's deeply unjust. I think that's terrible. I do not think the world should work that way at all. That's really bad, right? I think that's dystopian. And, like, I have a better understanding of that now that I've been in it. So, you know, I already thought that before getting into the job. Like, I already was like, yeah, you know, like, I don't think it's a good thing that... I think it's a really bad thing that people have to spend their entire lives doing things that they just don't care about and hate doing, and that to waste all that time doing that just to have money to buy a house and to survive on their own, when, you know, so much they're wasting away so much of their life that they could be using to do fulfilling things that make them happy. But, you know, now I've been in that, I've had that experience, and, like, I understand it even more now. You know, it's so bad. So, like, the world's just fucked, you know? It's like, it's dystopian. It's straight up dystopian. Like, it's, I'm not really exaggerating with that. It's like, obviously, there's nicer jobs you can get, you know? You can get a job in something you're passionate about. I'd love to get a job in, like, voice acting. That'd be great. I don't think that would make me miserable. But, like, a lot of the jobs that people have to settle for, that people are capable of getting, it's not great, you know? You're spending your whole life doing something you hate. You're spending your whole life working to help someone else achieve their dream. Some other CEO somewhere who doesn't even know you exist, doesn't even care about what happens to you. It's terrible. And that definitely needs to change someday, but who knows if it will, you know, because the world is a bit fucked, you know? That's how it goes. Anyway. Yeah, anyway, let's catch up. You never lived until you listened to Vor by Sleep Token on the Verge of a Breakup, SMH. Vor? Is that what it's called? Vor? What kind of songs are these, Salad? Based. Get inside with it, yeah. Dude, having a job sucks? Yeah, for real. I hate being employed sometimes, yeah. I mean, I just hope that someday I get into, like, a nicer job, right? Or, even get enough money off of YouTube to not need one, that'd be great. Let's see. I need a sneeze. Or not. But Exy, in that case, how do we get things done? We still need the labor. Okay, you say that, but... Okay, well, I don't know if you're... You might be playing devil's advocate here. But... Here's the thing, right? People say that, but, like... A lot of these jobs we don't need. Right? Like... Are we talking about, like, janitors and stuff? Yeah, we need janitors. We need people to do that. Yeah, we need people to, like, harvest food and stuff. But, like... Do we really need, like, call centers? Do we really need, like, companies where, like, you're spending your whole time, like, just, like, you know, like Amazon, you know, like, all that, you know, like... There's a lot of these jobs that, like, don't actually benefit the world. They benefit, like, a CEO. They don't benefit the world, you know? Like, that's, you know, it's just not the case. We do not need Subway sandwich makers. I wouldn't put it that way, but like, no, here's the thing, right? So, okay, listen. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have jobs. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have, you know, like, because again, you know, it's a good point. Like, we need to get things done. We need the labor. That doesn't mean we need to spend our whole life doing it. That doesn't mean we need to spend, 8 to 9 hours a day doing it. For the whole week, right? Like 5 days a week. 9 to 5 days a week. That's not necessary. That's not necessary at all. What you could do, I don't know all the solutions, right? I don't know all the solutions. Because you'd probably need to overhaul a lot of systems. But one thing you could do, that some places are doing and are like pushing for, is like reduced work weeks and reduced increasing the minimum wage, things like that, you know, at the very least making, and if people do work difficult jobs, they should be getting paid damn well for it. So if you increase the minimum wage, it makes sure that people will at least get paid for those difficult jobs, you know, yeah, things like that. It does build character, right? It builds character, but there's a difference between doing something that builds character and wasting your whole life doing something that you don't care about, you know? There's a balance to be had here. It is a good thing for people to be busy during their lives. I don't think an ideal world is one where we don't have jobs. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the way things currently work is too far in the other extreme, right? I don't think it would be a good thing if we just sat around twiddling our thumbs all day. I just think the way things are now isn't fine. You know? I think you need sort of balance between that. People need to have more time to do things in their own lives. More free time. And if you're gonna have to do difficult jobs, they better fucking pay well as hell, you know? They better pay well. But a lot of the time they don't. A lot of people do miserable, horrible jobs that drain them and make them want to kill themselves. But then they don't even get paid very much for doing it. In some of these countries, the minimum wage is quite low. For the record, I was being 80% sarcastic. Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, it's a point that makes sense, right? It's like, it does build character. Which is why I think it's better to be employed than to not be employed. But the world is bad at giving you, like, a third option where you're not literally working yourself to the point of, like, wanting to kill yourself. Where you're not literally working yourself to the point of, like, you're wasting your whole life away just doing that one thing, and you have no time for anything else. Like, it'd be good if there's a way to not do that, but to also, like... Yeah, like... Yeah, just have something... You know, it's good for us to be busy. It's good. And that's why the ideal world would be one in which there are jobs. You know, you have something to do. The world goes around in that way. But there needs to be amendments to the way things currently work. There needs to be certain limitations put in place to stop these things from spiraling out of control. The ideal world is definitely one in which society can function without anyone doing labor. If you feel like doing something, you can, but it'll be on your own time. I don't know about that, because then, you know, who's going to willingly choose to do that labor? There's going to be labor that needs to be done, and no one's going to choose to do it. Unless they're, like, really generous, but people aren't that generous. Here's why slavery is based. What the frick? No. But, you know, we're wage slaves. That's what we are. Wage slaves. Part of the rat race. Yeah, because I can work 40 hours every 2 weeks and it'll be like $400. That's like nothing here. Yeah, exactly. That's like totally unjust. That's messed up as hell. Labor's needed. We can't do anything about that. Yeah, of course. Yeah, we should... Labor is needed. But, you know, take a look. There's countries in the world right now who are already moving towards ways that are, like, better and more efficient, right? If we look away from characters like America, for example, like America, Canada, and all those places, there's countries in the world right now who, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's countries in the world now who have reduced their work week. And have, you know, reduced the hours people have to work each week. And they're still functioning, right? Am I correct? I forget which country did that. Isn't that something they've done? Like, just correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't want to spread misinformation. But, you know, that's like, I don't see any reason why you can't just apply that everywhere. So that people don't need to spend literally their entire lives working. I think that would be better. Welcome, Pop-Tart Snake. Welcome. I think you did miss yours. Yeah, we read yours earlier. Unless you sent more than one. Would read it again, but then my response wouldn't really be, like, genuine, because it wouldn't be, like, a first-time one. I think they did that in Colorado, which is a state in America. I don't know about countries. Oh, right, okay. I've definitely heard that. Don't remember where it was, though. But, like, if that did actually happen, and I didn't just fucking dream it up, then, you know, that there's the evidence that there's steps we can take to make this better, you know? But most places just aren't doing it. You know, we need to... Yeah, it's just the way the work culture works right now is so dystopian. There's also massive swaths of jobs that can be axed outright, like everyone working with marketing or stockbrokers. So I don't know how any of that works, but... But yeah, no, I mean, that sounds about... I don't know how stocks work, but... Yeah, marketing. I guess so. And perhaps an ideal world is one where we don't have advertisements. Be hard to get there, though. In the future, we can make robots do that instead. See, AI is replacing all the wrong things right now, because what AI is supposed to do is replace all the menial tasks that we don't want to do. All the nasty, difficult stuff. But right now, AI is replacing all the stuff, all the creative stuff, all the fun stuff, like art and shit. It's replacing the creative stuff. That's the stuff we wanted to free up. We wanted to free up, get rid of the menial labor done for us so that we can be creative. Now we're having the robots do the creativity for us so that we have more time to work. Love ads. They tell me what I'm supposed to buy. True, true. I love the most current thing. I love the most popular thing. I love to buy, I love to spend. Forgive me, Karl Marx, for I have bought. I want a robot to do laundry for me, not my art, yeah. Yeah, it's a powerful tool, and corporations don't use it well. Yep, because they're all stupid. The world is unjust and horrible and terrible, and the powers that be want to control us and get richer at our expense while we toil away endlessly and they do nothing. But it doesn't have to be that way forever. There are changes we can make. you know? There are changes that we can make. It's not hopeless. But we have to band together and fight for that. You know? Here's the thing, right? I don't know a lot about socialism, right? But I would be totally willing to be like a socialist or a communist or whatever if like I could like get some kind of proof that it would work. Because like I've heard like people argue about it and like I feel like I don't understand the arguments well enough. Because like a lot of people say, you know, it wouldn't work because it's never worked before, and then other people are saying, well, actually it would work because when they did it before, they did it wrong. And also the US freaking assassinated the one person who was going to do it right, or something like that. Something like that. So like I don't know. I'm totally willing to be a communist though. Some like if it works, you know, like I'd be willing to if it works, if communism works, you know. I'm open-minded. I'm not going to be dogmatic about anything. I just want whatever will make the world better and a little less dystopian. Daniel, did you hate Satoru Gojo? No, don't ask him that, because he hates popular things. Gojo's popular. You don't want to know. Yo, Velvet Room music. Comrade exhibit, yeah. Hello, comrade. Welcome. We are communist. It is not your country. It is our country. It is not your money. It is our money. It is not your property. It is our property. There's these two girls, but due to the ravages of socialism, they're forced to share one cup. What? No! That is heartbreaking. Oh my god. As long as there are people who take advantage of that system, it won't work. Dude, it'll never work. So it'll never work, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, it's like... I'm totally willing to be, like, a socialist, but, like, I don't know if it would work. You know? But maybe we can still achieve something that's, like... Even if socialism can't work, maybe there's something similar we can do. Like, or like a more... You can restrict capitalism, right? You can basically... You can control capitalism. And that tends to be the closest thing we have to, like, socialism right now. It's like controlled capitalism, where you redistribute the money, you build welfare, you build things that people need, and you give money to the people who need it. You sort of, you redistribute things, and then you, like, have limitations on, like, minimum wage, you know, how much companies have to pay people, how many hours you can make people work, things like that. And so, things like that, put enough limitations there, you'll be able to create a system that's better, I think. And you know, it's complicated because, like, I know maybe sometimes putting those things in place can be dangerous. Maybe you'll fuck things up. You might fuck up the economy. You might mess up certain things. But at the end of the day, there's countries in the world that have already made strides towards that the rest of the world just isn't doing. But yeah. Okay, so that was a good talk. That was a very good talk about all the dystopianness of the world and how jobs are terrible. But we're moving on to the last response. This is the last one. What's something that makes you want to cry? Gojo Satoru's Death and Sad Life. Written by, you know who this is. Of course. Of course. It is obviously Spider Guy, the ultimate Gojo fan. Ugh, I'm sorry, Spider, that you had to deal with that. That must have been so sad for you. I'm so sorry, Spider. Yeah. Alright, well. Spoilers? Yeah, try not to post spoilers, guys, in the thing. I was reading it before I realized there was even a spoiler, so I couldn't really avoid it. I'm devastated. Yeah, poor Spider. Exhibit, why do you always have to do that with me? I'm sorry. I know it's you, Sakura. I know it's you. It is kind of well known, isn't it? Everyone talks about it. Unfortunately, everyone does know that, yeah. So people like you. You didn't do the same with random. What did I do with random? Or did random spoil something? I forget what he... What was it? Hang on. Oh, wait. Oh, that's right. He wrote... Wait, let's see. Where is it? Yeah, someone... Was that him? Let me see. Wait, where is it? Never mind. Anyway. But Exhibit A would never lie. And him lying there proves that wrong. But he can't lie. No, this can't be. I'm right, you're wrong. What? I have no idea what a Gojo is. Is it one of your Pokemans? It's Pokemon! Alright, anyway. Alright, that is all of the questions. This has been a very fun stream, guys. It's been super fun. I've enjoyed talking. Thank you all very much for being here. I'm very grateful. You know, you guys are helping me keep my channel going. We're moving forward in the future. Even though I've got a job, it's harder for me to, like, keep everything maintained. But you guys are helping me keep it maintained, and hopefully I can still continue to grow and get better, get more popular. Hopefully. I want the YouTube dream. I still want the YouTube dream to come true at the end of the day. So, thank you all so much for being here. I'm gonna wrap things up. You guys are all super cool. You're all the best. Without further ado, I will see you in the next stream. Bye-bye.